We're joined on another Light the Lamp episode now, Alexis Downie alongside the hockey guy, Shannon Skanes. Shannon, great to have you in the studio. Your first time on the show in the studio, but thanks so much for stopping by.
No problem. Not at all.
How has your trip been going? When did you get down to Anaheim, Disney, all of that? What's on the agenda?
We arrived on Monday. We flew out of Seattle early on Monday morning, so we stayed over in Seattle on Sunday night. We were in Disney Park yesterday. Today's our off day because of the Ducks game, and just to you have to have a rest day in the middle of a holiday like this. And then we're going to be in Disney and California Adventure Thursday through Saturday, and then we fly back home on Sunday.
A lot of excitement while you're here. And I know part of that was just being able to finally give you your 30th anniversary jersey. Initial reaction to getting to see it, and it has your name on it, number 13 and all that.
It is a really, really nice jersey. I know that it's one that anytime they're wearing it, I'm kind of like happy. And it's funny too, because like I have my little magnets I use on my review boards, and I try to make sure I use that magnet for when they're wearing that jersey. The colors are great. I like the way the sleeves are done on it. I think it's just really sharp. I think those are the colors that come to mind for me when I think about the Ducks and their history. So I think it's really nice they do those throwbacks.
I already asked you off camera, but I want you to explain why you have the number 13 on the jersey.
So when I was a kid, which was like, I don't know, 80, 90 years ago, number 13 was considered like bad luck. And nobody wore 13. Like hotels didn't have the number, like floor 13, you go from 12 to 14, 13 wasn't a thing. I think eventually for fire code reasons, they had to include 13. But as a kid, I was like, well, I like the number 13. The house I lived in was a number 13. And so I would take the number 13, and it kind of became my number because nobody else wanted it. They're like, oh, that's bad luck. You can't have that one. I'm like, well, I'm already not a great player, so can't really jinx myself here. And so it's just been my number since.
Do a lot of your jerseys have numbers on them? I'm trying to remember. You have so many.
So with the channel being as it is now, and with the jerseys being such a big part of my brand, I want to make sure that the ones that I'm wearing in videos, I don't have to worry about going out to play a game of street hockey and I wreck the jersey. So I have jerseys with my name and number on the back, in part because then I can tell them apart. I'm like, okay, this is one I can wear to a street hockey game. I don't have to worry so much about it. This is one of my, if something happens to it. Now, obviously, with the ones that you guys gave me, I'm not going to be taking that one.
I was going to say,
beating it up at the street hockey.
Are you going to be wearing it?
Not for the street hockey, but like for special stuff, I will absolutely wear that for special stuff or just out and stuff. But yeah, that's what it's for. And they do tend, like I like the blanks because then you don't have to worry about, say, like I have all these Canuck players, and when Bo Horvat got traded, I'm like, great, I got 3 Horvat jerseys that Canuck fans can be like, I can't believe you're wearing a Horvat. So like I try to stick to the blanks as much as I can. But if I get a name on the back, I try to make sure like it's an old player. People aren't going to be mad if I'm wearing, like, for instance, if you wear a Ducks jersey with Kariya on the back, nobody's going to say anything. But if it was a Ducks player who left the team under, say, bad circumstances, right? So I that's how I choose my name jerseys.
Will you be wearing the jersey to the game tonight?
Absolutely. Yep. That was already the plan. Wife and I had gone over that, and yep, that's the plan.
Well, speaking of street hockey, you had a meetup last night. It was?
We did. Yeah.
How did that go?
It was on Monday night.
Monday night.
In Tustin, and it went well. Considering again, it's Southern California, it's middle of the week. Well, not middle of the week, start of the week. I thought it went really well. Nobody got hurt.
That's important.
That is the big thing. We've had meetups where somebody gets hurt and then it just grounds the game to a halt.
Yeah.
And so that's why we don't use the rollerblades. That's why we don't take slap shots. That's why I'm like, look, this is just a comfortable, casual game. I know when we have them at home, a lot of the time it's just, okay, sir, where are we going to eat? And they'll be asking that question before we've even started playing street hockey, which restaurant we're going to after. So they keep that's the important priority right there. Where
did you go to eat after this one?
We didn't with that one. We were really, really tired. And like, we were just absolutely gassed because I hadn't had sleep the night before. And so after 2.5 hours of running around playing street hockey, I was like, yeah, my body is done. I'm just going to collapse. So Yeah.
So this one was in Tustin, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you get to meet anyone? I'm assuming you met some people that you hadn't met before, but anyone new, any fun stories, just getting to meet some people that, follow your channel?
There were some that I had seen before. There were a couple we hadn't seen since our first trip down here, where we had a meetup at Cheesecake Factory the first time we came down here. And yeah, it was interesting. I did feel bad for there was one kid that showed up at like 10 minutes before the game ended. And it turned out that his mother had driven him. It was an hour and a half they'd driven. So I was like,
Oh, wow.
And he just showed up. And we actually played a few minutes longer than we were going to, because I was like, well, he's got to at least get a shift in. He's got to play a bit. And then we hung around after the game, and I made a point of talking to him and his mom after, because I felt bad. I was like, yeah, they drove an hour and a half to get here. And yeah.
Will any of those people from the meetup be at the game tonight? Did you chat with them about that?
Yes. I would say about half of them are going to be at the game tonight. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some that are at the game tonight.
This is which Ducks game number that you've been to? Is this your second one?
Yeah.
Second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw the Ducks and Coyotes back in 2020.
What are you looking forward to about this game tonight?
Because it's San Jose and it's Anaheim, I am excited to see how some of the younger players are doing. And, like with Anaheim, see how McTavish is doing, because it's kind of been an up and down season for him. And I do like a lot of the players on both teams. Eklund's been playing pretty well for San Jose on and off too. So that should be fun. I haven't seen who the starting goalie is tonight for Anaheim. I don't know if it's going to be Gibson or if it's going to be just out. Gibson.
Gibson's in net.
I think Gibson was in net the last time we came down. So yeah, that'll be fun.
As far as also just being at the rink tonight, anything that you like to do when you go to a hockey game? Is there anything? I mean, obviously you mentioned having the season tickets for Abbotsford, but when you go to Canucks games or any other hockey games, anything that you like to do in particular when you go to the games?
After the game is done, because the traffic can be an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
We like to go to the team store and browse the team store for about 15, 20 minutes. And then if there's people who recognize me, they'll come and meet us in the team store and get selfies taken and stuff like that. It's always, it's a matter too of me looking for, okay, so do they have some decals here I could turn into magnets? Do they have magnets? And just looking for more, merchandise and stuff like that. I also enjoy, like, if I'm going to watch a hockey game in person, obviously it's different if I'm watching it and taking notes for the channel. I can just enjoy it as a hockey fan. I can just relax and just enjoy the game. And so that's really what I'm looking forward to tonight too. Is just relaxing, enjoying the game. It's the last game before the break. So kind of fun.
The very last game before the break, which, I mean, they're pushing it with the schedule, especially having All-Star starting tomorrow.
Yeah. So Frankie's going to be on a plane out, and that'll be fun too to see Vetrano, because I don't think I've ever seen Frank Vetrano live.
Oh, okay.
And I followed him since he was in Boston, and I kind of felt like he got a raw deal in Boston. I thought he was better than I think Boston thought he was. So I've rooted for him since then.
Let's talk about All-Star Weekend. Do you watch the festivities and everything that they hold?
I used to. I've always had this kind of theory that the All-Star break is, a lot of it's designed around kids. A lot of it's designed around the young viewers that are really, really into, okay, who's gonna, like I remember watching All-Star stuff in the early 80s, and I loved it. I loved seeing all the players, and they wouldn't be wearing the All-Star jerseys for like the skill stuff. They'd wear like their team jerseys, and just seeing all the teams out there. I'm like, oh, this is so, wow, these guys are all talking to each other. Why? Like, they're not on the same team.
Yeah.
So I really feel like All-Star is designed around kids primarily. And I think as long as that's what people keep in mind, I think there'd be probably less complaining around it, because they're not going to take it seriously. This is a break for the players too. So, I mean, I've watched All-Star games. I do enjoy some of the skills competition. I think the skills competition, with there being money on the line, should be pretty good this year. So I will be paying attention to that.
Having the player draft too, a little different than it has been, just the draft in general. Going back to that format rather.
Yep.
Do you like that? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I think there was a lot of attention paid to, obviously the big famous moment was that Phil Kessel got taken last.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that upset Phil so much. Phil seems like such a chill guy. I don't think he necessarily cared that he got picked last. I think people made a big deal of it. And I think that when you're looking at these are the best players in the world, who cares who gets picked last? They're still some of the best players in the world. So as long as people don't, again, I think people just can take things a little too seriously. As long as they just relax, I think they'll be fine.
Now, one of the celebrity captains is Michael Buble.
He is.
Which is one of your guys from, I love that story that you shared last time you were on the show. Does that make you kind of want to watch it more, just knowing that he's going to be a part of it?
I will be paying attention. I had to laugh every time I was walking around Disney last night, and for Sweethearts Night, a lot of Michael Buble music. So I always find that weird. I was like, that's Mike. Like I like doing my treadmill every day, and sometimes I have it like I'll just have Spotify do a random playlist, and I'll start playing Mike, and I'm like, I don't think I want my friend serenading me while I'm on the treadmill. I don't think I want that. So, but yeah, before he called me last week. We talked about the All-Star game.
What'd you tell him?
Well, I just talk to him the same as I do anybody else. So like, I don't see it. It's weird. It's weird. My phone rings and I look and I go, oh, it's Michael Buble. Because 9 times out of 10, I won't answer my phone, but like, I'm going to answer for him because I'd really better answer for him because I don't want him going on a stage. Can you believe this guy's full of himself? He's ghosting me. So, but he's a really nice, down to earth guy. I think he'll do a great job at the All-Star game. Very personable. And what you see is what you get with him. He's just a really nice guy.
Looking forward to seeing him at the All-Star weekend. And a part of that also, I mean, we keep talking about jerseys, but I want to know your opinion on this year's jerseys, the collaboration they had with Drew House. It's a little unique, but the thought, obviously being it's Toronto, Justin Bieber, all of that.
I think they will appeal to the younger crowd. I find they're kind of cartoony for me. When I initially saw them, I was like, I don't know. So the supplier that I have for jerseys, he asked me, he said, well, which ones do you want? And I said, all right, well, I can do the red one because the red and gold is like Lunar New Year. So I can wear that around Lunar New Year. It's Lunar New Year colors. And I said, I'll take the yellow with the yellow because it's ugly. So if something ugly happens in the NHL, I've got the perfect jersey for when something ugly is happening. People will know something's wrong. He's wearing the double yellow jersey. So,
remember that now.
It's just, but I thought they were kind of cartoony. I was like, wow. And the names are on the bottom. Why? I had a lot of questions when I saw them. So yeah, not my favorites of the All-Star, but again, it's not about what I like. It's about what'll sell. So we'll see how well they sell.
Do you have one that stands out that you have liked in recent years?
I really liked the parlay jerseys, the first year of the LA parlay jerseys. I have 5 or 6 of those. They're really nice. And I find that the one they have is Vegas Golden Knights, where the shield is in white and it's got the gray heathered sleeves. And it's really, anytime I wear that, people are like, where did you get that? Can I have one? And I'm like, I got them online. I had the only one that site had, and I don't know where to find them. I've never even seen them. So yeah,
very cool.
They've had some really nice ones.
The ones this year, in seeing them on people in pictures online, just media people that have gotten their hands on them already, I agree. I'm curious to see what they look like though with the full kit.
Yes.
What is it going to look like on the ice? Yep. Maybe stands out a little bit more than I'm initially thinking too.
Yeah. The kit can make a big difference. Absolutely can. Sometimes with the Winter Classics, some of the heritage stuff, it looks better when you see it the full outfit.
What did you think about this year's Winter Classic and mentioning that up in Seattle?
The Winter Classic, Seattle, they hit their jerseys out of the park. Those were fantastic. The whole look was great. Vegas, they were going for like a Wild West look. I mean, the problem with the jersey was it looks like it's flipping you off. And once somebody pointed that out to me, I was like,
I gotta look at it.
Now I can't unsee it. So yeah, that was kind of, it's plain for a Vegas jersey. I was kind of surprised. I was like, I figured they'd go all out, but it was kind of plain for a Vegas jersey.
So one of the series that you're doing on your channel right now is just all-time power rankings. So a lot goes into that, I'm sure. But you just did the Ducks too at number 29. It was?
Yep.
What was the process like just going through the whole ranking system and getting all of that data ready for those. And then, just talking about why Anaheim is at 29.
So Anaheim would be at 29 because where I started doing power rankings was 2017, 2018. And then that's where Anaheim started to fall off in the standings. And by the time you reach 2020, well, they were at near the bottom of the standings where they've been pretty much up until now. So I knew they'd be towards the bottom. We had a few subscribers that sent in the data because I don't track all of them. I usually track during the season. I have a book where I track them. And then the next season, I use a completely different book or I use a different setup. So we had some subscribers send it in. My lovely wife compiled the data, put it into tables for me, and spent about 3 days working on that. So it was about 3 days of work. It was a lot. And it's one of those things where I know there's people who aren't happy that I have all time, but I couldn't figure out a way to title it where I didn't say like all time rankings without it being really, really wordy. And they're my all-time power rankings. It doesn't mean I went through 100+ years of it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing 100+.
That's a lot.
I love my channel. I love subscribers. I love my job. I can't go through 100+ years of data.
It's too much. And it makes sense to do more recent years too, because that's a lot of, with the way hockey has changed so much in recent years in general too. You see that shift and then the team's power shift as well.
I kind of feel like the NHL had like the pre-salary cap era and the after salary cap era, and those two, you can't compare one to the other. Where in the 90s, you could pay $80 million on contracts, and now these guys are all bums, and you can move them out and spend another $80 million. If you're the Rangers, you're Toronto, Montreal, the big guys with all the money. And now with the salary cap, you really can't do that. You do have teams that circumvent the cap and it makes people mad, but compared to before, it's a more level playing field now than it was before.
With where we're at in the NHL season, how have you been feeling about how the year's gone? There's certainly been plenty of news throughout the season so far, but is there a team in particular that you've enjoyed watching, obviously, besides the Canucks, maybe?
For enjoyment, I've enjoyed watching the Red Wings finally get back into the hunt for the playoffs. I had expected to enjoy Buffalo a lot more than I have. I've been very frustrated by Buffalo because one thing is watching as much hockey as I do, even if I don't necessarily root for a team, I get frustrated when I'm like, okay, all the pieces are there. Why isn't this working? I've been like Anaheim, the first 15 games of the year, they were so fun to watch. And then I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened. I know it's a young team. That can happen with a young team. But yeah, I would say Detroit. And then I've been honestly, even though I'm right next to the Canucks, I have been absolutely shocked at how fun they are to watch. Their games, like I understand the whole PDO argument and it's unsustainable. I'm enjoying it while it lasts.
Have you gotten to go to many games for their season? Have you gotten to go to any?
I want to say 2 of the Vancouver Canucks games so far. I think because we do the Abbotsford games too. I think we've 2 or 3 of the Vancouver Canucks games so far, and they're just fun. One thing that's different is that now if they have a lead, I don't worry they're going to lose it. That's when you know your team has come out of the mess. Is when they have a lead and you're not thinking, okay, how are they going to blow this one? How's this going to fall apart? Like what Columbus has gone through this year, where if they have a lead going to the third period, as soon as it starts, I'm like, all right, how are they going to lose this lead tonight? And you can see the body language where as soon as a goal goes in, they slump, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, here it comes.
What's been your opinion on the Edmonton Oilers this year and where they're at right now with this winning streak?
You know, the Oilers are bewildering. So under Jay Woodcroft, their advanced stats, the whole analytics side, they were doing really well. Their expected goals and everything was really, really good. Their goaltending was really sinking them. So they make the change to Chris Knobloch, but also the goaltending got a lot better. Paul Coffey came in to run the defense. They're just playing really, really well, and they're playing really, really smart hockey. And they're also getting a lot of wins right now without needing McDavid and Draisaitl to carry them to those wins. They've had like Warren Foegele. I can't gloat enough about how great Fogel's been for them this year. Their defense, Darnell Nurse, a lot of people have been mad about his contract, but he's been excellent this year. I really do think that in the second half of the season, they could end up being the number 1 team in the West by the time it's all done.
As far as different arenas that you've been to, have you been to Edmonton? Have you ever gone to a game there?
The only Edmonton arena I went to was the old Northlands, and that was for a rock concert. But I remember sitting in it, looking around and going, this doesn't feel like an NHL arena. And then they replaced it a couple years later. I'm like, yeah, that's probably for the best.
How many NHL arenas have you been to?
Not nearly as many as people think.
Yeah.
I've been to Vegas. I've been to the one here. And I've been to Vancouver, and that's the whole list. I have not been to Climate Pledge yet because getting down to Seattle is a bit of a hassle. It's very time consuming for us.
I think I've asked you that question on how many arenas you've been to before, but it does surprise me, and I'm sure many of your viewers and listeners probably ask and wonder that same thing a lot. But do you have plans to go to another arena, or is there a hope that the next arena on your list you'd like to see?
Eventually, like, you know, with having a wife and children and kids are of school age, we can't just, and it's really expensive to do that kind of a travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like once you're going east, it gets really expensive, and then you have all the jet lag and everything. And then it's, how would I report on all the games? How would I do that? So I would love to do an East Coast swing, like go through Boston, New York, see MSG, go to Boston, go to Montreal. I'd love to see Bell Center. Ottawa, whenever they decide on what they're going to do with their arena, whether they stay or they move to downtown or LeBreton Flats. I'd love to go to a game in Toronto. I would love to just feel that experience in that environment. So at some point in time, maybe, but it's going to have to be when kids are older.
And you're still doing, your shows on the road. I saw you have your little whiteboard. Is that your travel
whiteboard?
yeah, the travel one? I
got a notice in my suit, in my check bag that TSA had gone through it, and I thought, it's the magnets. The magnets, that's why I don't put it in my carry-on, because I immediately get pulled aside with like, what is this for? I'm like, they're magnets. Why? I'm a YouTuber. And they just look at me like, that doesn't explain it. Okay, all right. So I just put everything I don't want to have to explain into my check luggage, but apparently now I have to leave a note in my check luggage for TSA, like, thanks for looking, but they're don't forget magnets. To subscribe. It's just like,
put a card in there.
Yeah, I should get a business card and throw that in there. While you're in your TSA, just go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we do have magnets in our team store, so you can look out for that. Last time I was in there, I know that we had magnets in there.
We will be perusing the team store.
So a question that I want to make sure I ask you, because our producer Steph was actually wondering this one. Okay. He came across an old video that you did, your Hall of Fame, Pat Verbeek. You chose Pat Verbeek as a part of your personal Hall of Fame, someone who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Just kind of how that came about, and just knowing, he's a big part of Anaheim now.
What I liked with the Little Ball of Hate when he played is that, I mean, he went from team to team to team here and there, and the effort was always there. The heart was always there. You knew what you were going to get with him. The toughness was there, the skill. He was a good goal scorer. And I don't remember any drama around him as a player either. And from the 80s and the early 90s, that's kind of something, because there's a lot of guys who are Hall of Famers, really well known, that I remember some drama about them before we had an internet, before we had all these ways of people finding out about stuff. And so, yeah, I always respected him. And he wasn't like 6'5". He wasn't 250 pounds. And he was doubted at times, and he always proved the doubters wrong. So how could I not respect that? I've gone through that my whole life. People are like, oh, you're short. And they use that as like, for men, you're not allowed to be shorter. It's really weird. Like for women, it's okay. For men, you're shorter. And it's like, that'll be used to sort of diminish. And I see that a lot in sports. Well, they're too small. Why? Guy had 50 goals. Why? Well, it's too small. But if they score goals, who cares how tall they are? The puck doesn't care. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. In looking at Anaheim too, just this season, we talked a little bit about the Ducks already, but just what you're thinking about the team now, and as we go into the next couple months of the rest of the season.
I think the Ducks record to start the season might have been overly rosy. The 9-6 start may have been a bit of a mirage, but I don't think they're as bad as this run has been since then. I think I don't know if close is the right term, but it does feel like they could turn the corner as soon as next season with the right moves, the right additions. And once they've decided, like, with Gibson? Are you going to keep Gibson? Are they going to move Gibson? Once they've got these things decided, I do think they're going to be a dark horse because teams can turn it around pretty fast if they know how to work the cap. I really like a lot of the young players in Anaheim.
And you'll get to see some of them tonight, the ones that are not injured at least. But, Leo Carlson, you'll get to see him tonight.
Oh, Leo's playing tonight?
Leo will be in the lineup.
Excellent.
He's someone that, we've really enjoyed watching grow this season.
He has got a lot of potential. Like he's got superstar potential. He's so strong on the puck. And then on the blue line, Minchikov. Like trading Drysdale makes sense when you got Minchikov. And you've got Zellweger coming up, and you've got Lunau. And like, there's a lot of good young defensemen in the Anaheim system. Totally get why they went out and got Gauthier.
We're really excited for the future here in Anaheim, of course. But as far as the rest of your trip here, you're going to Disney the next couple of days after the game tonight. What are you and the family looking forward to about heading back to Disney? I know you already spent some time there, but what haven't you done that you're excited to do still?
Well, we haven't done California Adventure yet, so we're in there tomorrow. Now I know it's going to rain, but I'm fine with that. We come from the land of rain; it's not a problem.
It won't be busy then either.
No, and we're kind of counting on that. It's like, okay, so the locals don't come out in the rain because yesterday was really busy, and I figured that's probably part of what it was. I thought they're looking at this, they're looking at the weather and going, okay, it's going to be ugly. We better get to Disney now. Okay, get that out of your and then we're going to have the park on Thursday. I love that. But I like relaxing. I like, just going around looking through the shops. And I know for the kids, they like the freedom they have too, where they kind of just run around the park. They've got gift cards and they can go to whatever ride. We know they're not going to run off. So it's a really nice, it's a chance for me to just kind of turn my brain off a bit, which I don't do during my time at home very often.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Shannon, thanks for joining us here in the studio. Thank you. I'm glad we finally got your jersey to you, and I hope you enjoy the game tonight and the rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much.